Guys, look at how fat this little wench is right here, okay? He's fucking full of food and love. But you know what would make him even fuller? Love letters from you guys. Valentine's Day is coming up, and this little wench would love a Valentine's Day card from you.
You know where you can send one, guys? To our brand new P.O. box, where you can send us fun letters. Don't send anything big.
Yeah,
send
it's
letters.
really tiny.
If you want to send us anything, any letters, here you go. And we'll read out the letters on future episodes of the podcast, just like next episode.
Yeah,
or possibly the episode after.
We'll check the P.O. box tomorrow. Actually, we can check it today. We can check the P.O. box later.
Wait for the episode to come out first.
Oh, yeah. What would you do if that little wench floated up to the ceiling and you couldn't get down?
I'd make sure I didn't open any windows.
Yeah? You wouldn't let him go outside and try and see if maybe it would stop?
No, I wouldn't. No, definitely not. In what world would I do that? Right outside, it's nothing. Still float away into space, like Nathan Fielder.
Nathan Fielder and The Curse. Boing.
I was thoroughly enjoying it for the first, half, but
I was only enjoying it because I was like, oh, there's going to be a good payoff.
yeah, it was all building up to something that I was, cautiously optimistic for, where I just assumed that it was all going to pay off in a way where everything suddenly made sense, But it just kind of went in a direction that was, not what I was expecting, but also it's not like I don't like it just because it's unexpected or what I wanted. It's just kind of oh, it's just another one of those fucking endings where it's oh, it's vague. It's or it's
left
metaphorical.
Up to interpretation.
But it's not even really left up to interpretation because there is only one real
way
meaning
to
you can get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think its biggest flaws here are they introduce certain things into the show with certain characters and it goes nowhere. And it's only just to give you an idea, a further, more defined idea of these characters' personalities.
Yeah, I was describing it to you the other day where it felt like they were setting up all these dominoes that you're just oh, of course, this is all going to collapse them at some point. It's kind of like them building up all these plot points that you're oh, that is going to lead to disaster. I'm so worried about how this is going to end up, what the consequences are for the characters. And then it does that thing where the final episode comes around and it's oh yeah, everything we were doing throughout the show, that was a year ago. We're moved on from that now.
It has the same issue that The Bear has, where it's a build up to what's going to happen to this big moment, right? These characters like Nathan Fielder and Emma Stone, they're finally going to get their show aired. You don't see the show air. It's just already there.
Yeah, season 2 was already happening by the time.
Yeah, the last episode
starts. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a time skip. And it's the same issue with Barry, where Barry has that as well.
Which I didn't mind.
I did, where the last season's just a big time skip. And this is where everyone is now. You don't really get to see the shit unfold. Yeah. It's all implied.
Where it's oh, it's this issue with modern shows where because everything has to be so short, it's they're rushed through everything. Imagine that Breaking Bad, the last episode. Imagine that was episode 5 of season 5, and then that was the show over. Imagine it was that short.
That would be way too much to digest.
Okay, even worse. It would be if Breaking Bad was 10 episodes long in season 1, and season 1 had season 1 through 5 all crammed into it.
I think nothing really feels congruent with each other.
No.
None of the character you kind of oh, okay, this Emma Stone's really selfish and narcissistic and self-centered. She puts down her husband and she thinks he's not worth it, and she's more than willing to
step on him.
Yes, to get a leg up for herself.
Yeah.
And Nathan Fielder's just has no backbone. He has no dignity. He has no integrity. He lets this woman completely beat down on him, and he lets other people beat down on him.
Yeah.
And he's kind of in a way not deserving of anything. Because he's just...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you get Dougie, too, where he's also a selfish, narcissistic person.
He's meant to be the opposite of Asher, or Nathan Fielder's character, where he is, speaks his mind, he says whatever, doesn't care about things being awkward, or he doesn't care really about how he comes off. It's just he will do
but
or
he also
say whatever.
lies. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a worm.
But, yeah, they set up all this stuff, like the stuff with the casino, or the little girl in the curse, or Dougie
Kara.
then cursing Asher. Yeah, all this stuff that feels like it's almost abandoned by the last episode because like a year has passed, and now it's about how she's pregnant. And I wouldn't even mind the time skip if it weren't in favor of having half the episode be him stuck on the roof, because it's like, I get it. I get what you're trying to say. I don't need half an hour of this.
That's the thing, is the last episode, like 45 minutes of it is Asher being stuck to the roof.
Yeah, they abandon it, like the plot for something.
The logistics of it.
For something completely metaphorical that isn't even that hard. Like the Sopranos ending, like that people have compared it to for, is like, no. Because there's a million different scenarios you can think of. Did he live? Did he die? Like, no. Asher floats off into space, and we see that.
And we see him die in space.
It's not a thing about what happens. It's more of a thing in this show about what does it mean. And for me, it's like, I don't give a shit what it means. I wanted to watch a show that felt like it had a satisfying conclusion. But the conclusion just seems to be kind of like, well, she moved on to having a kid. She doesn't need him anymore. Like that.
She didn't need him anymore, and the TV show and the house is what split them apart, and the pressure between them. It was building to the point where he like had, and he also promised her that he would fucking disappear if she didn't want him anymore, and if he knew that she didn't want him anymore. Yeah,
I always took it as like the TV show was really all that was keeping them together, because the whole gimmick of the show is like a husband and wife. Like duo repairing this like old neighborhood, but now that she's having the kid for season 2, like why do now the dynamic is me and my kid, not me and my husband. So it's like,
well, because the show starts off being called Philanthropy. There we go. And then by the end of it, Emma Stone's idea was to change the name to Green Queen. So it's just mostly about her.
Yeah.
And her doofy husband.
And everyone is like, oh yeah, he's like your jester. Like he is not, by no one is seen as like on equal
terms as her.
Yeah.
And even like the executive producer
that's
of
what
HGTV.
Yeah. And so the whole show, the best parts of the show to me were how like awkward and how like real it was, and how like Nathan Fielder like so well like sells that cringe humor. He can write that really well.
The interaction between him and the father of the little girl that curses him.
Yeah.
And just how weird and uncomfortable it is that he's offering this man like a house, and it's such a like free pity gesture, but he's trying to act like it's like no sweat off of his back, just giving him this $300,000 house.
Yeah.
And then like you see him like plan to buy it, and then you see him get guilted by not giving this little girl $100 for a TV show, and so he feels so bad about that.
What this was about.
And
lies.
That's
how this started.
Yeah, and he lies about it. So he gives him the house. He lets him squat in the house because they had been squatting in that house, or like a vacant lot before he purchased it. That's how that like plot line, and you think it's gonna be about that. So you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? Like, is this man gonna take advantage of him? Like,
but he doesn't really.
No, he doesn't do anything.
He does, but he doesn't. It's like
it's handed to him.
Yeah, it's handed to him. He's just kind of like.
So he's like, yeah, I'll take it.
And to me, it's like, there's no payoff for any of the stuff. Again, like the casino stuff, like he is ratting out like his former job for like being fixed, like the gamblers never win.
For not stopping the gamblers who are addicted to gambling.
Just for being like shitty. Like, and we see him go back to the casino and he's talking about how like, oh, the lighting I installed, or it's specifically designed to like make sure you don't know what time it is, so you'll always want like stuff
gambling.
Like, I'm pretty sure that was in that show.
It was something like that.
Yeah,
he
something
was
like
about
that.
The lighting.
And then he sees the news story that they do after he rats them out, and Emma Stone sees in the news feed that it's him partaking in it, even though he never like was honest about that with her. But then after they talk about it briefly, it's like never touched on again, like the casino stuff. He talks to the guy in the store, his former coworker, and admits to him that it was him, but then that's like where it ends. And it's like, that's not a satisfying payoff to that plot point.
And that's the thing, is the show's way of giving you that payoff is, oh, it was acknowledged.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's missing like the big like cringe moment, It's missing the
but
part
the
where it all
build-up is
falls
the
apart.
cringe. That's the thing.
That's my thing, is that there's the build-up is so good that it makes the payoff come off
bad.
Like, when does it come?
It's just like, oh, okay, we were just uncomfortable and witnessed this because. And
the fact that it doesn't end with something real, it ends with something metaphorical and kind of like goofy, honestly. You're just kind of left going like, well, what was the point in any of that? This could have started with episode 10. That could have been the only like episode of the show, and I would have gotten the exact same thing out of it. I feel like you could have started with like, oh, here's a couple having a kid. They just had this show. It's not doing that well.
Yeah, that episode 10 is a TikTok. That's a TikTok story.
Yeah.
Part 117.
Yeah, it's just like
the woman has a baby and the father flies into the space or the atmosphere.
Cries, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like I get it. Like, I don't think the show is like bad or anything, but that ending is not satisfying in the slightest.
No, not at all. What is bothersome is that because it's left up to interpretation, right? I'd watch like a bunch of interviews with Benny Safdie, and the panel. All of them are always just like, well, the more you talk about it, right? Like, that's kind of what we're going for. We want you guys to talk about this, you know? We want to know what you guys think, because your answer is correct. Whatever you say and you think happens, that's correct. And it's like, that's lazy. That's lazy writing.
Maybe not even lazy, but it's just a style of writing that I can't appreciate.
It's lazy because they didn't put thought into trying to conclusively end anything and give it impact. The only thing that gave this last episode impact was that it was shockingly goofy. It was silly.
Yeah, and I can't appreciate it. I can't appreciate a show that just ends like that, because it makes me not want to ever rewatch it. And that's what everyone was telling us, where it's like, oh, I loved the ending, but I'll never rewatch that show. And it's like, what is that a sign of? I don't know. Like, it's to me, it's like, oh, this doesn't end in a satisfying way. Of course, you would never want to sit through this again.
Yeah, why would you want to watch it again? I guess for those cringe moments.
Because there's no payoff. It makes me feel like I'm watching the show and already knowing that there's no consequence to anything, because it just ends with him floating into space.
Yeah.
So it's like any of this could have, and it's all for stuff that's just like him and his wife. How they were from episode 1. You know, their relationship does not really like evolve or devolve from episode 1. They're just kind of like the same way through, just tensions are a little bit higher. So it's like, this could have happened. Him floating away could have happened at any point. All it would have taken is for them to get like pregnant sooner, you know? Like,
yeah, honestly. I don't it was bold and it was ambitious. It was shot fucking amazing. The acting was fucking amazing. Nathan Fielder has this one like rant monologue to Emma Stone that's just like,
it's great.
Holy fuck.
He's a great actor.
He is.
Yeah.
I think Dougie was the worst character. I think Ben Safdie is really pompous and annoying as a character and also as a person. Him on the panels is so.
Yeah, I never watched it.
Dude, he's so fucking annoying. He's so like up his own ass. It's ridiculous.
That's funny.
It's really fucking well done. It is, but the ending sucks ass.
Yeah, and it ruins it.
It does. It completely ruins it, and it makes you go, well. Okay.
That was a Paramount Plus. Like, where are they going to go for season 2, honestly?
That is true. It was a Paramount Plus
I
show.
literally think that if season 2 comes out, it's just going to be like, we just pick up from where we left off.
I was going to say, what could you possibly do? And the only thing you could possibly do is, and I was going to talk about this is a good segue, is the topic of rebirth. Now, a lot of people on YouTube who have given explanations to this ending have all touched on the idea that Nathan Fielder is actually, he went up to space and is reborn, and he is like the child.
Yeah.
And it's about, or this, like the symbolism or the metaphor is about rebirth, and that some, like, his life in a way was cursed and there was no way of like breaking it.
Yeah.
You know, and so he dies or whatever, and then the child is born, and then that was why he floats away, was because Emma Stone had no longer needed him because she had the child. So it's like, right?
Yeah, which still isn't satisfying.
No, it's not.
But I'm going to say the opposite. I think if season 2 comes out, it'll be Nathan is back. And it's like, oh, that didn't happen. Again, it was like metaphorical, you know? So we'll just pick up from wherever, like...
So they're like divorced.
The real life thing. Yeah. That will be what actually happened. And that's the symbol for it is him floating away.
But then at that point, then what was the point of season 1?
Then what's the point?
What was the reasoning then? Why? Like, for why?
I don't think it needs a season 2. I don't know why they're making one.
And this is the annoying thing, is I feel like people who say that they understand the ending, or they're like, you know, they think it's amazing. I feel like I'm like, okay, but what am I missing here?
Guys, if any of you have watched this show and would like to offer your input.
Yeah, what am I missing here?
Yeah.
Because I'm a very, very critical person, as you guys know. My rating scale is 7 is mediocre. And this, by the way, I would say is like a 7.5. It's fine. I wouldn't watch it again. I feel like a lot of people who really, really highly rate this film, like this series or whatever, they only do it because they are Nathan Fielder stans.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's just like, if I were to give it a rating, I would say that Kenny versus Spenny is better.
This is Kenny versus Spenny.
Dude, okay, so Mark, like a couple weeks ago, started watching Kenny versus Spenny again, and we had watched it a long time ago.
A long time ago.
When we were first, friends. And that was something that I had always watched growing up, because it was always on Comedy Central. And what was the first one we watched?
I'm trying to remember. It was one of the ones we'd, like, previously watched, like, years ago, I'm pretty sure. It was, like, one of the ones we always go to.
Yeah.
But then we find, I was like, okay, well, what are, because there's like 100 episodes of that show, surprisingly. So I was like, oh, what
like 6 seasons
are the
or 5
best?
seasons?
Yeah, 5. So it's like, what are the best episodes? So we started going through those, and
dude,
okay, if you don't know, Kenny vs. Spenny is a show, a Canadian show,
produced by Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Yeah, and it's about 2 guys in a rented house doing challenges. Every episode is a challenge, but they're always just like the most dumb, like, it's not taken.
It's either the most simple idea for a challenge, like who can not get a boner, or who can who can not get a boner first, or who can wear a dead octopus on the top of your head.
Yeah, and the thing that always that entertains me most about the show is like, no matter what episode it is, like, it never goes in the direction I would expect.
Yeah, no, not once.
So like the episodes I feel like that have the dumbest premise, or that have like the most simple ideas, are the ones that that wind up going in like the craziest directions for me.
Yeah, I would say that a lot of that is attributed though to Kenny. Kenny is the one that derails the show completely.
Yeah.
The loser of this competition has to go into a movie lineup and give away the ending. Even though his fridge is empty, I'm gonna super glue the lock.
But I do like also, like, yeah, the gimmick is that like Kenny always wins, but I like that it's not a thing where he literally always is the winner.
He earns it. No, he doesn't. Well, actually, he does. He does earn it.
I mean, like, that the show, like, Kenny wins, like,
it's not fixed.
It's not fixed to where he will win no matter what. It's more just like 80% of the time he wins, which makes it more like rewarding when Spenny wins.
But not really. Not really, though. He usually gets like pity wins.
Yeah.
I think like very few. He actually like
Genuinely
tried really
earns,
hard and he won. There was, what was it? It was the stripper one, right? Who was the better male stripper?
That's right.
And Kenny didn't even try at all. And Spenny actually like got lessons, like dancing lessons, and like got an outfit, had a whole gimmick.
Yeah.
And like danced in front of these women, and they all picked him, even though he forfeited because Kenny didn't try.
That's right. Yeah.
But he still won. They gave it to him.
Yeah. I find it interesting just to watch, because it's like, oh, this can never be aired on like TV or anywhere. This could not be uploaded to the like YouTube. People would not have it.
You could not. No, you could not watch this like. Nowadays, people couldn't make content like this ever.
Not at all. They're like doing blackface and stuff.
How inappropriate Kenny is, also how like disrespectful he is to women.
Yeah,
like
he's always grabbing women in the street,
poking their tits, or like he does the trick where he tells them to kiss him on the cheek, and he turns his head and kisses him on the mouth. And a lot of them usually slap him. Yeah,
and it's just it's very entertaining to see like something that's so like 2000s.
It is a relic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your hands down. Let's show everybody the beautiful bug. That's where life begins.
It's so weird. You'll see like their cell phones, or you'll see like their computers when they go into like their office, like with all their secretaries.
You should check out Kenny versus Spenny. It's all on YouTube.
It's all on YouTube. Kenny uploaded it all
in like 240p.
Mark, you kind of look like Spenny.
Yeah.
But you don't have butt cheeks.
What does that mean? Oh, like he has really like
big,
really
giant,
fat,
chubby cheeks.
Yeah.
Which one's your favorite so far that we've watched?
The shit one was pretty bad.
I forgot about the shit one.
Like, that was pretty atrocious.
It was who can wear a shit in their pants the longest.
Yeah.
And Spenny like duct taped. Dude, okay, Spenny tried to catch on to Kenny's like tricks, right? Kenny always goes to this like one medicine guy, and he got like pills to like make sure that he would have like
he wouldn't shit.
Yeah, he'd be constipated, right? So Spenny tried to get the same pills, but what Kenny did was He bought them at first, switched them out for laxatives, knowing that Spenny would buy them, and then gave them back to the store owner to put back on the shelf for Spenny to buy and then take. So he took a shit ton of laxatives, and they're both wearing like man diapers. It's so, oh my God, there's like shit pouring out. There's like a part where he's like running to the toilet with his giant saggy shit diaper.
Yeah, it's pretty revolting.
It's pretty foul. Yeah, you couldn't make that on TV anymore.
No.
You couldn't do that.
So yeah, I would recommend checking out that one if you want a good idea of what the show, or who can smoke more weed.
Oh, that's a good one. Who could smoke the most weed? It's like the one episode where they're friends.
Yeah.
And listen to some tunes, play some games.
Like the old times. I can't believe it. You know what? That's when we were closest, when we were doing drugs together. Think about it.
Where they actually get along.
Yeah.
Although I think my favorite one is who could wear a dead octopus the longest.
And the octopus is gonna kill you. Take it off your head. What did you fucking do to me?
Yeah, there's 3 for you guys.
You should
to
watch
check
those.
out and get back to us.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. They're
If
all
you
on
like it.
they're on YouTube. Okay, Mark, we have our own Kenny versus Spenny thing here on our podcast, right? But it's with Sunny. Okay, you and me versus Sunny. What competition would we do?
I think that could also be up to the viewers to decide.
Yeah,
Yeah, guys, if we ever had Sunny back on the podcast,
if we ever.
what we said no weenies allowed last time.
That's true. That is true.
So maybe if we are a bit more lax on our rules and we have one weenie allowed at a time, we could bring Sunny in.
Yeah, it says no weenies. It's
That's
plural.
true. Yeah, so we can have a weenie is allowed.
Only a weenie is allowed.
Yeah, but Sunny might count for 3 weenies.
Or a whole barrel of weenies.
Yeah.
Nowadays, with streaming shows, it's just
You can't make stuff that episodic anymore, where it's just like
No.
random shit every episode.
I feel like also there's just like there's not enough money. You know what I mean?
You don't think so?
Look at how big these budgets are. Look at how like
Yeah.
how high quality these like 6-episode series are.
You know why that is, though? It's because of streaming making it so easily accessible to watch movies, but also because of like places like Disney Plus who are making their own original shows, but they like blur the line between like movie and show, where the show has just as big a budget as like one of their movies. And so it's this thing where you can't really have a show that is just kind of like shot like a sitcom anymore, because it's like, why is it so low budget? Where's the CG? Where's like Spider-Man running
True.
around?
You're saying the stakes are too high now? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm saying the bar
I mean, yeah.
of people's expectations are so high now that you couldn't get away. I mean, I'm sure you could, but studios always want to make it seem like they have the big thing, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I don't think it would be possible nowadays to get something like Kenny versus Spenny, because nowhere is going to want to like put the money into it, not because they don't have it or that because it costs too much, but because it's more impressive to, instead of making 20 average looking shows, you make one really fucking big like Star Wars epic.
But you know what is like Kenny versus Spenny now?
What?
It's the perfect example is Fish Tank. Fish Tank is like our modern day Kenny versus Spenny.
Do you know what Has-Been Hotel is?
I have I've heard the name, but
It's the cartoon. It's the worst thing I've
it's
ever
weird
seen.
as fuck.
It's the worst thing
Yeah,
I've
it's
ever
super
seen.
weird.
Is
It's
it?
a competition. It's live, so it's different, but it's a competition that's ridiculous and foul and crude and like
I guess I've never seen Fish Tank to know. I didn't realize it was that much of like a competition. I thought it was
Yeah.
more of like a Big Brother kind of thing.
Isn't
I guess
Big Brother a
also
competition?
has. Yeah, I guess that is like. I always forget Big Brother has like events and like.
You always think about like the confessionals.
I just
and,
think
like,
about them
the drama.
fucking bumming around the house all the time. Like, yeah, I got really mad one time. I think I've told you this before, where I was sitting in like the living room watching like TV as a kid, like one of my old VHSs, and my mom was like, "Want to come in and watch Big Brother?" And I was like, "Sure, yes, I can't wait." So I ran in and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And they were like, "This is Big Brother." And I was like, "I thought this was Brother Bear."
Did you stick around and watch it though?
Watched like half of it and I got bored. I would not watch that kind of stuff as a kid.
See, I never heard of Big Brother until you showed me the Monkey Jones video.
You never heard of Big Brother?
No.
Big Brother is like giant here too.
No, I never heard of Big Brother.
That's so weird to me.
I always thought Big Brother was that program where you like hang out with kids, like role models, copies.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I didn't know about it until you showed me the Monkey Jones thing.
I remember they referenced Big Brother and Family Guy once, and that made me. That was like one of the first times as a kid where I was like, "Whoa!" Like what I consume is not in a bubble. It is something that other people can see too.
Family Guy made fun of this, so everybody knows what it is now.
No, it was more of a thing where I didn't realize that Big Brother was like I didn't know game shows in the UK had like US equivalents.
Oh.
So I was more like, "Whoa, they have that there too? What the fuck?"
Oh, I see what you mean. Gotcha. Yeah, but what about MILF Manor?
I never watched that.
I only watched like the first 2 episodes. It's pretty uncomfortable, honestly. But I don't even know if they're all related.
Yeah, but you know what we got really into watching recently, or like a couple months back? Naked Attraction, which I think is just a dog shit show. That
Naked
is like,
Attraction is awesome.
That is incredibly entertaining.
It
but
is
it's
so
like,
good.
It's the ultimate like shit TV. It's like
It is, yeah. It is like bullshit TV.
where it's like this is what I'm watching, but I'm watching it.
It's so fucking intriguing though. Like I have learned more about how different the human body looks than ever before.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I didn't know they made people like that.
But I find it interesting because I saw everyone talking about it a couple months back, and it was all over like the front page of HBO Max, which was interesting to me because I remember when the show first aired. It's a UK show, and it first aired like 10 years ago, and it was incredibly controversial. I thought it was canceled immediately because of how much like shit it got.
But it has like 6 seasons.
Yeah, because there's so much like more. There's more leeway, I think, in the UK about showing nudity on screen. Like you guys,
If
can't
it's
show
educational,
anything.
because they have educational segments in it.
Yeah, so they like it's like it's not censored at all. It's full frontal nudity,
Dude, it's everything.
and everyone's naked, and
Everybody's naked
it just shows it
except the host.
except the host. But it was incredibly there was like newspaper articles, like everyone, like my granny and all her friends and my mom and everyone was just like this disgusting show, and
The show rocks.
but it's so weird because no, it's everywhere. Like, but then I think about it more, and I'm like, if that show came out today, everyone would be all over it.
Yeah, they would.
Things are so much more progressive now. But you know what's really weird, guys? We were watching an episode, and they showed everyone, and this is when Sonny was in town, and they showed like the bottom half of the guy. We were like, what the fuck? That looks really familiar. And then Sonny grabbed the remote. I've never, like, you know when your parents like walk in, that meme where they walk in, you like in one frame, like close the tab, you know, like that.
Yes.
Like Sonny immediately grabbed the remote, turned it off, and we never watched it, so I don't know what is going on there. But I think Sonny has something he's not telling us.
Sonny, what are you not telling us?
Yeah.
Guys in the comments, what do you think Sonny's not telling us? This is a very comments-oriented episode.
Comments? Yeah.
We want you guys all to tell us everything about yourselves.
Guys, just comment like 5 times. Make sure you make at least 5 comments.
Lift's eyebrow.
Yeah, look at that. Your AI wench Donkey Kong
That
wallpaper.
that you made me.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny though.
This is whenever what was it, Microsoft Bing first like had their AI thing, and I was like, okay, I got to see what all the fuss is about. So I just typed in
little white chihuahua.
little white chihuahua and Donkey Kong like scuba diving. and Veronica made it her wallpaper. Look, here it is. AI art is bad, but this is a funny image. You know what the topic is, guys? Mista Chedda and how he was unjustly canceled.
Honestly, is it unjust? You cannot. There are some people who are like, you cannot make an exception to this.
But I'm like, you can make exceptions to this as long as it's not hurting anyone, you know?
Do you think Mr. Chedda is hurting anyone?
No, because it is not ripping off an artist. It is not like copying something. It is literally just an AI picture of a mouse.
But it is copying something because it is taking from other things.
But it's such a, I don't know. It's not.
You like it so much, you're like, well, come on.
No, I think it's because there
am.
is like an argument to be had about like, it's less about the fact that I guess Mista Chedda is like bad and more about setting the precedent of like letting one thing slip through, or then it's much easier for the internet to treat the AI thing as like black and white.
Yeah.
But then for something like Mr. Chedda, where it's like, what is making that AI photo really replacing? That's my like thought process of it.
I guess because Mr. Chedda is at the same quality all the way through, not one asset of him sticks out because he looks like a full finished thing.
And it's realistic. It's not an art piece.
Exactly. And so when people try to recreate it, it's like, no, you're taking too realistic. It's too realistic to the point where it's not.
AI just has some fucking quality about it that makes everything look so.
It flows sometimes, except for hands.
Yeah, if you're unaware, Mista Chedda is an incredibly, incredibly funny, hilarious, like, image of the year, image of the century.
Careful guys, okay? We're going to show you right now. Don't get too excited.
If any of you don't like AI art and don't want to see this, look away.
Yeah, skip to this time.
Here it is. That's hilarious, right?
That's really funny, right?
And people like loved this image. It was everywhere.
It was everywhere. Especially on TikTok.
Then one day someone tweeted being like, I just found out the Mista Chedda is an AI image. Like, this ruins it for me now. So here's my version. Yeah, use my one from now on, my recreation. And it's like a 2D illustration and like a cartoon style of a mouse. And it's just like, the AI is taking from so much stuff that you are not able to like capture in your like illustration of it, that
the charming features of Mista Chedda.
You know what it's like? It's like when it's like Teals gets trolled, where it's like there is just something so perfectly like imperfect about that is impossible to like. You cannot easily like recapture his expressions.
It's just because there is no one like the other, and it is so unique and has been like shown to you over and over and over that you can just spot the imperfections, like a bad drawing of Homer Simpson.
Yeah,
or
where it's
Peter
like,
Griffin.
Where it's like you as a human, the AI can like be like, this is the way I do this, but the human has to like think about it and make deliberate choices to me that makes it less funny compared to a random piece of artwork like on the internet of the mouse, and his hands are kind of
like this.
Yeah, and then you see
like,
you see the recreation of it, and the hands are just like normal, and it's like, but you
like
didn't.
A T-pose.
To me, then that's like you don't understand why this is funny.
Exactly.
To me. And I think it's funny because he's doing like such a natural pose.
He's
like
doing
his
a
fingers
gesture, a type of gesture that is like so welcoming, and it's like, oh, what? You can get mad at me? Like,
and he's not smiling, but he's not frowning.
He's smiling.
He's got like a blank mouse expression.
Where's your phone? Put on. Let me see, Mr. Chedda. Good.
It's like a blank expression. He's not
You're
smiling.
right. I always thought he was smiling.
Are people's inability to like look at two things that like fundamentally like should be the exact same, but it's like it's missing something about it, you know? Like you're recreating Mista Chedda. You're trying to recreate this, but you have only a human eye. You are flawed. You cannot make a perfect Mista Chedda that is as funny as the one the computer makes, because the computer just does it, you know? It's so like weird, you know?
The people who are against AI and they look at things as black and white, the reason why is because at the end of the day, the integrity of the art is being threatened because others use AI to quote unquote create art and claim it as such when there is no emotion or feeling or like talent or, like you said, deliberate acts to like create something. It's just kind of like taking from others to replicate something.
Yeah, and it's that thing, or it comes back to that idea that it's not necessarily like, because again, someone making a funny AI picture of a mouse and putting it on Twitter is not the equivalent of like having AI art replicate someone's job, or an advertising agency or a company using AI art to make their marketing material or their billboards, because one is taking away someone's job and one is just like having fun, but both are feeding the algorithms. You know, that's where the moral issue comes from, I suppose, which is like,
the more you play with AI art, the more it's learning, and you're deliberately letting that happen.
But I guess I'm also in the boat of like, you're not going to stop it, dude.
I know.
You're not going to stop AI.
You can't stop AI. You can't. But at the same time, it's just like, but why like support it?
You know what it is? It's like that kid who made the Springtrap animation that we talked about, the Scooby-Doo Springtrap.
And use the AI voices.
Where it's like this kid using AI Daphne and fucking Fred is not like taking jobs from people, because this kid was not going to pay people anyway. He doesn't have like a disposable income. But it's still feeding that AI algorithm to get better at replicating these voices, where it's like the act that this person's doing is not directly doing any harm, but it contributes to the larger issue of people allowing themselves to get carried away by the prospect of AI.
Like, what can you do? There's like, but at the same time, it's like, well, you could either not do it or do it.
Yeah.
Not use AI or use AI.
And no matter what the internet says, I think the answer for the majority of the population is always going to be they're going to use it.
Yeah. And everybody's using it all the time, every day.
I think it really takes someone being in a position or having a job or a hobby that is at threat of being replaced by AI for them to really understand the gravity of the situation. Like some fucking 7-Eleven worker is not going to care that they're generating a funny AI image and posting it, you know?
Yeah.
Or like someone who works like in construction. I feel like you have to have a job in like the arts or like media, something that AI could so easily like imitate for you to really understand how severe like feeding that algorithm is. But that's not going to be enough people to put a stop to anything.
Do you want an AI wench?
No,
Would
I
you
like
want-
little organic wench.
If little organic wench was no longer, God forbid, would you have a little AI wench?
Sure.
Really?
A little Goddard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a little
sure.
AI Goddard wench. You could tell him to explode.
Yeah, that was
But
so
with
funny,
why?
little wench.
But isn't that unethical? Because then at that point you have your mecha wench. But why wouldn't you just want another dog? Let life continue.
I guess that would be the thing.
That would be the dilemma.
That's the same issue as the AI art. Do you want something natural or do you want something that serves the same purpose but is inorganic?
That was beautifully spoken, Mark. Let's all baseball clap. I meant golf clap.
Baseball. Yeah, I was thinking myself.
Dude, the other day, me and Mark got invited by Jane to go to the Pasadena Comic Con.
We went to Pasadena Comic Con and we were in the same room as Butch Hartman, but
Yet again.
we did not go talk to him.
But we did get buttons
We did get buttons.
because we signed up to his newsletter.
Here they are. It was kind of like not a great convention, honestly.
No, it was a really shit convention. It was really tiny.
And maybe it's because we're not so a part of fandoms to the point where we're like, I gotta go and get a signature from this person. Oh, this voice actor's gonna be there. I have to check it out, you know?
It really did feel like those were the two things, was a bunch of people's artwork or the voice actors.
Yeah, you know what else I really don't like about it? There's no rhyme or reason to how anything was placed.
Yeah, no, it was
There
really
were
disorganized.
voice actors and artists put together. There was a random like full line, and we were like, "What the fuck is that?" Turns
It
out
was
it was
for Tom Kenny.
but you couldn't tell it was Tom Kenny.
Yeah, we didn't even know. We walked past that lane like multiple, like up and down the like voice actor lanes multiple times.
Yeah,
And then Butch Hartman was like, yeah, on the other side of Tom Kenny, like the complete opposite side. It was really random.
why?
Flash Gordon was there.
Yeah, like next to like random like
Next
Saturday
to-
morning voice actors.
And then there was like Gray Delisle. She was near Butch.
But then yeah, all the Fairly Odd Parents voice actors and Danny Phantom
they
were all
right
lined
next
up.
to Butch.
So it's like it's weird. It's weird. It was a weird convention, and I guess maybe it's to like help with lines where it's like instead of having all the voice actors like on one half where there's gonna be like long lines the whole way through, they'd rather space it out. But it just seems so.
But even the artist alley, or not the artist alley, the exhibit hall was like disorganized. There were like some tables that were going straight, and then there was one going like perpendicular to that, and then
yeah.
another one going near. Like it was like dominoes.
I just don't. I'm realizing as I get older that I really just don't like going to conventions.
Conventions are fun if you're with the right people.
I was gonna say it's fun to hang out with your friends.
Yes.
But you could also go bowling and hang out with your friends and have fun. You know.
I guess the possibility of meeting people that you like their media or like the media that you consume.
Yeah.
You know, you might see them there, or just seeing people dressed up in characters that you like, or novelty artwork that you would never be able to get.
Yeah, it's like VidCon where, like, I'm sure for a lot of kids, it's like, wow, this is the only place on planet Earth and the only time of the year where I could be in the same room as Matt Pat and see him.
As odds went out.
But if you're just going in there, like, just casually, it's like, I don't want to go to a panel. I don't care enough. I don't want to meet any of these creators. Any of the creators I am friends with already. Why would I meet them here in this, like, unnatural setting?
Dude, VidCon sucks.
VidCon was horrible.
But you know what, Mark? I think we should go to MomoCon.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence about it.
Really? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments.
You guys.
If we did a panel at MomoCon, would you guys go?
Yeah, would you want to see our panel?
We talked about this not too long ago and had an idea.
Yeah, we had an idea for a panel.
But we shouldn't tell him yet.
We shouldn't tell him because someone's going to rip us off.
Yeah.
Yeah, MomoCon was always one of those things that I wanted to go to, but I didn't care enough to go to Georgia because it's like if I'm going to America, I'm going to LA, I'm going to VidCon. MomoCon just seemed so like, maybe not lame, but more like I don't know what I'm going to do there, and I don't like engage much in like communities, you know.
Is that what MomoCon's about? I've never ever been to MomoCon.
Is like cartoons, manga, anime, like
just stuff.
Every other convention.
Okay.
But it's like the one that everyone goes to in like the spheres that I'm in. But it's always been a thing where it's like I'd like to, but do I want to make the effort to? No. But who knows? Maybe we'll if enough people.
Now we will.
Yeah.
Maybe
everyone should at MomoCon on Twitter and say, please, please, please. Mark missed the application date by like 6 months, but please let us come.
Smiles really widely. Yeah. So we were thinking at our panel of doing something really, really cool, and it involves prizes, guys.
It involves meeting
Sunny TM IRL.
Sunny TM
you will
and
see
a
Sunny's
wenching.
big, giant, fucking fat titties IRL, guys.
In 3D.
In 3D.
Yeah, we're gonna have big 3D glasses. Everyone gets. But yeah, we'll think about it. But let us know if you guys would want to see that.
True. But also send this little wench love letters.
Yeah.
In our PO box.
In our PO box.
Or to our PO box.
Yeah, to our PO box.
Very good. That'd be very fantastic.
There was someone. I didn't want to say this earlier. There was someone standing on that balcony right there, staring at us.
Really?
Yeah, the whole time. There's like a window right here, and
there's a balcony for our neighbors.
Yeah, and there's like a woman standing on there, like staring through our window. It's
That
like the only
woman-
time we ever open our window.
That woman always looks angry at us, though.
No, it was a younger woman.
A different woman.
She was like 20.
She wasn't the old woman?
No.
The old woman always looks pissed off at us.
Yeah. That's because Wench is always sticking his dick out the window.
Dude, Dude, remember when there was one day where we were walking down the street and this man was on his phone and he was freaking out, and I guess he like just got news. He like got off the phone and looked at us. We didn't even know who he was, and he's like, "I just got news that my grandmother has cancer or my aunt has cancer, and I have to go tell my mother right now." And he's like, "Always get checked. Always go to the doctors." And then he just walked away.
That was weird. Yeah. And
He
then
was in such shock.
There was another time where we meet this woman look like a complete idiot.
Oh my god, I forgot about this.
We were walking with Bean Wench and Sammy, and we walked across the street. And then as we were walking, this woman started calling me from behind. I turned around. She was like, "No, no." And then she's in her trash,
Like her
and she
barrel.
pulls out a bag of dog shit. And she's like, "No, no, you're not gonna keep putting this in my trash can." And I looked at her and I was looking at it and I was like, "That's not mine." Like we didn't.
I like pulled my trash bag for the doggy poop out, and I was like, my bags are blue. That's not ours."
And even then, I was like, "I'll throw it away if you want, sure." And she was like, No, it's fine, it's fine. So she walks away and puts it back in her trash and walks away embarrassed.
Grabs her trash can and brings it back in. Her issue was it was trash day and she had just gotten her trash picked up, and so she didn't want dog shit to be the first thing dumped in her garbage can.
Even though I'm like, it's
garbage
you're
anyways.
not smelling that anyway. You know,
Yeah.
you open it once a day maybe to put it in the trash and then
It's like,
walk away.
oh, boo-hoo, you're going to have dog shit in your trash can for a week.
Yeah.
While other mountains of garbage are going to be on top
yeah,
of it.
rotten food and fucking expired milk and shit.
And your broken dildos.
So yeah, it's just like, don't be a bitch.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Guys, moral of the story of this whole entire episode, don't be a bitch.
Moral of the story, let me tell you a good one, guys. Last week, I made enchiladas, right? I went to the weed store, and the guy who's the owner is really, really nice to me, and he'll always say hi to me, and he makes small talk or whatever. And I told him, I was like, "Oh, I made some enchiladas." And he's like, "Oh, man, I love enchiladas." And I was like, "Okay, well, how about this? I'll go back to my place, and I'll get you some enchiladas, and I'll bring them back over here." So I go home, get the enchiladas, go back to the store the next day, and give him the enchiladas. And apparently he was like sick, so he was like, "Oh my god!" He had no idea that I was actually like gonna come back. So I was like, "Yeah, man, here you go." And he was like, "Dude, hook her up." 14 joints, guys. 14 joints for $10. That was the biggest deal ever. I couldn't even fucking believe it. I was like, wow, 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 wow. And so fast forward right into the future. Fast forward to today. I go to the store to go pick up some more joints, and he's not there. The owner's not there, but his wife's there. And his wife's like, oh my God, I have to tell you, the owner loved your enchiladas. He said, anytime we see you, we will hook you up. So they gave me the same deal. 14 joints for $10. Guys, the moral of the story is feed your dealers and they will hook you up.
Unless your dealer's winch.
Mark, who do you relate more with, Kenny or Spenny?
I feel like I can be both, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like I could very easily be both. Like with Sonny, I'm definitely more like Kenny. But whenever I was a kid in high school, I was like Spenny with Tom when we first met.
Really?
Where Tom the mouse would just like shit on me all the time, and it's because he wouldn't let me join his Minecraft server in the school library. But then we both turned into Spenny and started griefing
Kenny,
our new Spenny, and then the cycle continues. And now here we are, and I'm doing the same thing, griefing Sonny's Minecraft server. Yeah, no, but guys, you should all check out Kenny versus Spenny.
Yeah, please watch the octopus episode.
You should all look up Mista Chedda. You
don't have to look at Mr. Cheddar. Here he is in 3D.
Yeah, and join us next time when
Almost
we'll read your
Valentine's
guys'
Day.
letters. We'll read the P.O. box.
You guys have to send them ASAP because next week we're going to read some of your letters, but then Valentine's Day is coming out. Also, guys, for the Valentine's Day special, we have a very, very special treat for you guys. Stay tuned.
Bye.
Bye.